Alright, hey guys, how's it going? It's your brother Noah. I hope that you guys are well, and I'm going to be transitioning from doing the teachings on the atonement back to doing practical videos on overcoming sin and videos on deliverance and things of that nature. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about why God allows demons to still dwell in the flesh of believers even after they're born again and even after they get delivered. And you guys have to realize that deliverance is a lifelong process. It's not like one and done just because I or somebody else prays for you that your demon problem is just over at that point. I've been going through deliverance for years now, and I still recognize demonic temptations in my flesh. Not more so, but I recognize deeper ones and these demonic thought patterns that still run through my brain. And I realize that I'm not perfect, still at this point. But anyways, some people are shocked to find out that even after they get deliverance, there's still thousands upon thousands of demons dwelling inside of the flesh of Christians. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about, I've compiled some reasons here of why God allows these demons to still dwell within us. Still dwell within our flesh. It's not because the first deliverance is not powerful enough to set you free. I mean, man, when I first got my deliverance, I never returned to pornography. I never returned again to that lust ever again. So don't get me wrong, but the problem is, what's happening, guys, is people don't realize how bad the demon problem is. They don't realize how corrupted our flesh truly is. So you have to realize, like I said, that deliverance is a lifelong process. Some people talk about getting a full deliverance or something like that, but I'm going to talk about some reasons why that just logically does not make sense. And I've never seen anybody who's walking on water and multiplying fish and everything like that yet, where they're, as holy as the Son of God. But anyways, I'm going to talk about these reasons now. The first reason why God allows demons to still be in Christians is not because he wants us to sin by any means. He wants us to overcome every demonic temptation, and that is one of the reasons to test us. Job 7:18 says that you should visit him every morning, talking about God visiting man every morning, and test him every moment. So God is testing us and trying us to see if we are going to obey him, if we're going to follow the teachings of his Son and deny our flesh every single moment. If we no longer had demonic temptation and you just had to get one deliverance and then you were perfect, there really wouldn't be a lot of proving your love to God. You guys have to understand that we need to prove our love to Jesus. For anybody who knows even somewhat of the Old Testament, you should know the story of with Abraham, where God says, "Now I know that you fear me," after Abraham obeyed God. And we're kind of unlike parole, guys, right, on this earth right now while we're still on this earth. And God is trying us and testing us. When we've been living in sin and filth and black darkness and demonic activity our whole lives, God's going to want to make sure that he can trust us, letting us come into his holy, righteous kingdom for all of eternity when we're down here and all we've ever known is sin, right? So there's many different verses that talk about showing our love to God. Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments," right? And like we talked about with Abraham. Another reason why demons are still in the flesh of believers, they're still able to be in there, is it makes us reliant upon God. When you recognize that there's scores and scores and multitudes of fallen angels that are tempting you to sin, you realize that I could just be torn to pieces. I could just be utterly destroyed by these fallen angels that are way more powerful than I am in that of myself, and that drives you to the place where you realize that you need God's grace in order to overcome. In that of yourself, these demons would tear us to pieces, guys, if it wasn't for the protection and the grace of God, and let alone even overcoming them. But we see this instance in 2 Corinthians 12, where God said to Paul, Paul, he said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness." So it's when you come to the place where you're like, God, these demons are just, it's way too much. I can't overcome this sin. And you're crying out to him, and you're broken over your sin, and you don't know how you can overcome it in that of yourself. That's where God dumps his grace and his power out upon you, and then you're able to just stomp on stomp on the snakes and the scorpions, like Jesus Christ said, and overcome the devil. But if we think that we could just overcome our sin in that of our natural ability, or without crying out to God, that would make us prideful, and that's not the case. Because, like I said, guys, these demons would just tear us to pieces if that wasn't the case. And once you recognize that these demons dwell within your flesh, that makes you hate sin even that much more. Once I realized that demons live inside of all human beings, that made me want to sin even less. That made me want to serve Satan even less, or commit sin even less, because then I recognized, well, if I'm committing sin, I'm offering, my body fluids or my members or whatever it might be, literally unto demons, and that's just disgusting. Why would you want to do that? The next reason I have right here is it glorifies God in demons being prisoners to our bodies. God is pleased to see us denying demons their food, denying them sin. And when I say denying them their food, that could be food, I guess, in a sense. But demons, their food is sin. And when they're being starved out in our bodies, and they're being tormented in our bodies because we're not feeding them sin, that glorifies God so much. And when the demons come out of us, it makes a spectacle, an open spectacle of the kingdom of Satan once they are cast out, right? So this is kind of like God's judgment upon these fallen angels, that they are no longer able to have control upon us. And once you become a Christian, the demons that dwell within inside of your flesh, they should no longer be the ones who you're serving, but they're prisoners inside of your body. Now, I still believe that dry places is worse, because demons want to hold on to the body. But nevertheless, if you're truly denying yourself and taking every thought captive, those demons are not having a good time, right? They're burning inside of you. They're cooking like an oven, and that glorifies God, and not only just denying ourselves for the sake of showing our love to God, but it's decimating the kingdom of Satan, and it's showing the devil that we're not going to serve him, but we're going to serve God. And that's truly amazing. Ephesians 3:10 says, "To the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of God." So God is making an open spectacle of these demons. He's showing off his wisdom, to these demons that fell from heaven. He's showing off his power unto the principalities and powers, like it says right here. Okay, the next reason that I have is it would be physically destructive to our bodies for all of the demons to come out of us at one point, especially nowadays where people come to Christ and they were doing occultic practices or masturbating, or they used to do, all of these wicked sins, right? If all the demons came out of you, your body would literally just be completely, I think you would literally die, because even just when one really strong demon came out of somebody in Mark 9:26, it says, "Then the spirit cried out, convulsed him greatly, and came out of him, and he became as one dead, so that many said, he is dead." So just this one really powerful demon tore this kid so bad that he looked like he was literally dead. And if you're going to tell me that all of your demons are just going to come exploding out of you at once, that would literally just completely tear apart your body. If you didn't die, you would be hospitalized for like 5 months. That's how destructive it would be. And for people that say, "Oh, well, when I became a Christian, all my demons just left me." Well, when did they tear you? When did they rip you and come violently tearing out of you? And if all of them came out, you got like a full, you're just sinlessly perfect now. when did these bodies tear you like this little boy, or even worse, right? Because the sin nowadays is commonly worse than it was back then. So, guys, I've seen people like vomit or like be thrown to the ground just by going through one deliverance. And if you think these multitudes and multitudes of legions and legions, what all God would just take them all out, that's not something that's practical in the way that it's set up. And their manifestation that tears our body, like it says right here, convulsed. Or I think in the King James Version, this is the New King James I read out of right there. In the King James Version, it says it tore him. The demon's hooks literally tear your body on the way out. They can make you vomit. They can make you throw up. They can throw you to the ground. They can make you bleed and, almost die, like we see right here. The next reason is there would be no point in keeping us as humans. We would literally be walking around like Jesus Christ if we did not have any demons inside of us. We would be walking on water, multiplying fish, doing all these, amazing things, all these miraculous miracles the second that we're born again, right? And that would be hard to appreciate salvation. That would be hard to appreciate the holiness of Jesus Christ as well, too. And it might not be the smartest thing, for us to be like that when we just came from a life of depravity and sin, and then we're just like as holy as the Son of God or something like that. It kind of ties back into with what I was saying earlier about how God wants to see that we truly love Him. He wants to see that we're truly going to deny ourselves. And the next point kind of ties in with the last one is there would be no labor to conform to Jesus' image. And this could be dangerous to just hand us 100% transformation. Now, that doesn't mean that God doesn't want us to be being transformed every single moment, but it would be like giving a 2-year-old the life of a full-grown adult. It'd be like saying to a 2-year-old, hey, here's a license, go drive a car, go work in this factory, manage a business, have a family, and all these different things. That 2-year-old would not be mentally able to do all of those things yet. And as well, too, you could not trust that 2-year-old as well, too, right? So, and then there's no glory in us suffering to conform to the image of Jesus Christ. If it just gets handed to us, in that sense, it's not like we have to earn salvation or earn conformity to the image of Jesus Christ. But to conform to the image of Jesus, you need to deny yourself. You need to suffer and take every thought captive. And that's the way that God has it set up, right? There would be no trying to refine us and work out our salvation, right? And it's not as though, like I said, we earn it, but we need to prove ourselves worthy to God, that we're able to keep going to the next level, right? That we're able to keep growing in spiritual maturity. We need to prove to God that we're genuinely faithful like that. And the last reason that I have, guys, is the free will of Satan and demons. You have to realize that if God just pulverized or, threw every demon that sinned against him, every fallen angel that fell from heaven, if he just threw them straight into the lake of fire, there would not really be free will in choosing to serve God anymore. God doesn't want robots that didn't choose to serve him, which it ties in perfectly both ways, where the demons or the fallen angels still have that free will in a sense, and then in us overcoming the fallen angels, we have free will in the sense that we're proving that we truly do want to love God and to serve God, right? And guys, if God just threw every fallen angel straight into the lake of fire, people or beings would not feel like, or in reality, they wouldn't have this idea of, well, it's my choice to serve God. It's my choice to, to continue to abide with God or something like that. And obviously, God doesn't want just a bunch of robots to serve him, because the angels had a choice to fall or not, and it wouldn't be a choice if they just went instantly to the lake of fire. And this is kind of a twofold part, guys. You have to recognize that when you live a life of sin and you're doing all of these, drugging and drinking and lying, cheating, stealing, whatever it might be, you allowed these demons to come and live inside of your flesh. You signed a contract with them in a sense, or you made a soul tie with them. You made a covenant with them in the spirit when you were living a life of sin in your past, and now you allowed them to come into your flesh and build up a kingdom inside of your flesh. And it's not as though God couldn't just instantly blast all of those demons out of you, but like I said, you made that covenant with them with sin, and then you have to break that covenant as the next ones are ready to come out of you, and by denying yourself and renouncing them and so forth. And then you burn them down. You burn down their power as you conform to the image of Jesus Christ, guys. So don't be afraid to realize that legions and legions of demons still live in your body, but instead consistently go through deliverance, right? Because God will protect you. He will give you power to overcome. And like I said earlier, just because I or somebody else or even nobody else, even if you just get deliverance in general, that doesn't mean that your demon problem is over. Deliverance is a lifelong process. And it's really important to recognize that, guys, because I feel like some of you that I've prayed for, you think that, well, now it's just the flesh or something like that. But the reason why our flesh is corrupted is because no good thing dwells in the flesh, and our flesh is an instrument for the devil to tempt us, right? Obviously, Jesus Christ did not have any demons inside of him because his flesh was not corrupted, but our flesh is corrupted because of sin. And it's a process, guys. It's a good process because you get to continually have the victory every single time. You get to continually be refined in Jesus Christ. And as the next demon comes up for you to battle, you can continue to get them out. If you even just start rebuking your thoughts as demons, they will start to come out. If you start to say, just even in your mind, when you're being tempted, say, demons, I know you're in there. I know you're tempting me. You got to come out of my body. You'll start coughing them and yawning them up, or yawning them out, and burping them out, and so forth. And that's another thing, guys. You have to recognize that your thoughts are not just thoughts, but your thoughts that are not of God are demons. Or should I say, they're inspired by demons. It's because a personality inside of you is interjecting that thought inside of you, right? That's not your personality. That's a personality that has tried to mesh itself in with you and make you deceived to think that that's you. Or that's one of their plans anyways. So that's what I have for this video, guys, and be blessed in Jesus' name.